I gotta go to workflow.
Workflow and those two.
Boom, boom. And then, so Facebook has to have a separate stream than the other one. So I just been doing Stubby, Cover Radio, Texas Brewing. Okay, so anyway. And then right before we go live, click here, hit record. What you say, click, put this in.
Oh, yeah, okay. And hit recording. All right, cool. Actually, we should work on this for 3 or 4 of us so that we have it down.
Yeah, I agree. Because if you guys could have done this while I was in Germany.
Yeah. Without Zach here, and then even Zach asked the question to me, I'm like, fuck, I don't know. Y'all are the only two that are doing this.
Right.
I have some logins.
I mean, you're still on the podcast. I mean, you're being recorded. So.
Right. This is yours.
Because I've got, I built a brew by fermentation. Yeah.
What are you all going to come back on? What part of your story? He's looking a little antsy. Turn it up. What's it on?
I said it's 71.
That's true. That's a lot less expensive than I've got a dedicated laptop.
Well, like you can do like me. You can have what I have on my stand. You could mount a monitor on the wall.
No, that's true. Yeah.
It's like 71 minutes.
69 now.
You know, I like that.
Gotta remember to turn that up.
Well, what happens is we all get this. We all get. Who is? Yeah, somewhere over.
Well, the other way to do it is to switch angles so that he sits here where Brandon is or at the end. That gets the actual vent. So.
Well, the problem is you get 4 or 5 dudes in there.
Yeah, I know, but you get direct vent in those 2 seats. Or at least the last seat. That's why I always sit there. I said that last one because you get the vent.
That's true. I can use the pumps.
Yeah, because the pumps are run by that panel as well.
That's not a bad idea. I hadn't thought of that.
Wow, that made a big difference just opening that thing.
Are you warm or something?
He is. Well, he's in that corner where there's no fucking air.
You know what? If you move over one seat, move this one right on you.
You get really cold ones. Well, then I can't do some
This room is designed to be able to finish study from any place.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is. Like most of the store.
All right, let's see. Nobody thinks about the audio, right?
I thought it went pretty smoothly, technically.
Yeah, it sounded good.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye.
Nice to play with you. Go polish your head.
Yeah.
He didn't leave. He went to the bathroom. A lot of beer left for all of us.
Oh, I'm worried.
Remember to pour me one.
And I stayed up too late and drank too much last night. Yeah.
I gave my 4 brew in a bag experiments, and they came out pretty good. The climbing's
Take them already, huh?
the climbing's fucking solid right now.
That's
On the
what's
date.
amazing.
Okay.
Is how good that sounds
Yeah.
when we're live.
Yeah, it does.
Next week I'll bring in.
How good that sounds. That's all Facebook.
Yeah.
They're brewing in Brussels, Belgium.
Brought that up.
I didn't even remember it's on solid picture. I didn't even think about it. You're really thinking that?
It's good, actually.
The only problem with it to me is it's too sweet.
It's a little too sweet. That's why you gotta cut it with vodka. Do that sweetness. Yeah, that was not my favorite.
That Gothenburger is horrible. They only make one good beer, honestly. The beer sucks. They're
That shit is good.
That's good.
That fucking
This has got a lot better than just a week.
really good.
Last week I tried it, it was like green apple.
It's got a little tartness to it, though. I don't know what's going on with it.
Is it tartness or astringents?
No, that check pins, sweet.
Yeah, I'm getting. It does come across a little. I don't know.
Their dongle, dude, is world class. Best dongle I've ever tasted.
You know what I was thinking about?
But that's
That dude Dan that used to be in the brew club here, lives in Germany now. He posted that up. You
Yeah.
should see if I get him on the phone.
Yeah.
That guy was a stupid good brewer.
Yeah. I thought about contacting him, but he was way
You get
off.
hard out of that.
Huh? Some weird tartness.
Now the acetaldehyde type of thing seems to show up.
Dark, like a little green apple.
The green apple's there again.
I don't taste it. No, I thought
That grassiness.
This lunatic's actually gonna do it. What? He's gonna test the hydrogen bomb in the ocean.
Yeah, he is. You know, and I almost hope he does, because then fucking China or Russia will be forced to do something. I was telling somebody the other day, I think if China was smart, they would go out and they would go and take it out.
You're correct.
Become the world's hero. And
Both sides there.
yeah, I mean, if China was smart, they would be the ones to handle this thing.
If they're smart, knowing that the world economy, we're all tied together, and you got some asshole out there who's gonna
Right.
unstake it.
Who's not tied to anything.
Right,
We're all too intertwined financially to let
Right.
this kind of shit go on.
Except for him. They produce nothing worthwhile.
Right.
They do nothing.
Coal.
All they do is suck.
Yeah, and be dicks.
They just suck at resources.
They're dicks and they suck dicks.
Yeah.
They're dicks that suck dicks.
They're dicks.
You dicks? Dick sucking dicks?
No, the audio's not on, is it?
not bad, but you can hear on the iPad.
You have 2 minutes.
But, you know, this whole thing about China being worried about having a democratic country aligned with America that's sharing a border, I don't understand really.
It's
why
that
that's such a
fucking
deal.
big, man.
Right.
Come on.
No, they can't hear us, right?
Barely.
iPad audio.
Bradley bowled a 213 last week. Really? 138. 213, 148. Wedge sucked 176, 175, 166. Weber 166, 188, 105.
105?
Yeah.
That happens sometimes.
Nigel.
Drinking a lot of whiskey.
Nigel 161, 204, 232.
Damn, that's a stud.
He is a good bowler.
He almost won
Is.
600 series.
Pre-break sponsor message. And only stage left is cinnamon.
That's for later.
Oh,
Don't get Fritz excited now.
it's cinnamon and jasmine. And don't you know?
On the center stage. Come on down. Give it up for cinnamon.
We're not going to talk about Luxembourg Diddy bars.
We didn't go to Luxembourg pretty bar. We went to Luxembourg whorehouses.
43.
We went to, we kind of walked into them and then kind of like
Walk in.
realized what they were and quickly turned around and left. And then we went and found liquid. I forgot all about that part of it.
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
All right. So we're back. Uh-oh, we lost our video. You know how to get the audio back or the video back? Just slide up.
does this every time.
I don't know why.
time.
What? 7, 6.
It's recording. And we're back.
All right. Welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. So he's still practicing on his strip club voice, DJ.
Oh,
And
Will,
on
Will
stage
says our
left.
audio
Cinnamon
was
on the center
live.
stage. Give it up for cinnamon.
Yes, I know it was live. That's what I was telling you guys. Anyhow, please disregard anything that was said on that. Doesn't necessarily.
I don't know that we said anything that controversial. I mean,
not necessarily the opinions or
Trending
of
topics.
Texas Brewing Inc.
you got to work on your disclaimer speak.
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
dude.
I know. I'm trying. I'm trying. It's kind of hard to come off the cuff with a disclaimer.
Yeah, well, that
You
makes
know what I
sense.
mean?
Do we have any more beer?
Yes, we do. So anyway,
We got some Zima.
Yeah,
We should
some-
we should
And
bring
the
that
guest
we
is
should
not
bring
gonna
that
be here.
Leinenkugel's case box over here so we can actually grab beer out of it.
I
Yeah.
have a cooler.
We has
right
a
over
cooler
here,
full
yeah.
of beer right here.
But I see the Valdu sitting over there all by itself.
No,
There's a
we
Valdu
got
right
like
here.
3 different Valdus in here.
Valdu.
You brought 3 back?
Yeah, I brought a whole 6-pack, dude.
I can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna
We're
talk
back.
before we talk to that though. We went to Dusseldorf. So this is one of the places that I was really excited to go. I don't think Fritz really wanted to go, but I really wanted to go.
did. What do you- really?
Anyway, no, I'd never
Feel the
had.
hate coming over
No,
my
no,
side of
right.
the table.
So anyway, I had a alt beer one time when I was in Munich, and besides that, that was probably the only like true legit alt beer that I'd ever had, other than stuff that maybe I'd had brought back.
Because
Or
I
I'd
asked
bought-
about it when I was in Stuttgart, and they're like, "No, you have to go to Dusseldorf to get that. You're not
Yeah.
going to get that anywhere else."
So anyway,
That was the other really weird thing I've always noticed about Germany.
it's very regional.
You can only get the local style in that region.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
very
not like,
regional.
It's not like you're going to be in Munich and have like this huge selection of alt beers,
Right.
and you're
Right.
not or Kolsch beers, and you're not going to be up in, Brennenhaven or wherever, Hanover, and have all these great Helles and Munich style beers up there. It's just really, really odd.
The exception to that was there was a Polaner brew pub that I was in. They called it a brew
In
pub. I don't think
Stuttgart?
they brewed there. Yeah, in Stuttgart. So I was able to get some of the Bavarian styles there that
Yeah, I think-
weren't really
But
in
Stuttgart's not that far. Stuttgart's
that
just right
far.
outside of Bavaria. I mean, it's not.
that. Well, not if you talk to them.
Yeah, I know. but-
According to them, they don't have anything to do with those people. It might as well be a different country.
Yeah.
They did nothing but talk shit
Is that-
about
is that
Bavaria the entire time.
they're all jealous of Bavaria.
It was fun. I was,
Or are they in Bremen?
I think when it comes down to it, they're just all insensely jealous of like the Bavarian culture,
We
the
were-
history, the popularity of the
Their beer's pretty good,
towns,
too.
and
We took a
everything else.
walking tour, and the tour guide was talking about how much wine they drink in Stuttgart and in Schwabia and all that in general. And
Schwabia.
somebody asked about is alcoholism a big problem over here or whatever. She says, "Oh no, in Schwabia we are never drunk." And we said, "Well, we were at a beer festival last night, and we begged
Everybody was
we
drunk."
begged to differ." And she goes, "No, those were all Bavarians." I'll never forget that. She just badmouthed the Bavarians every chance she got.
that's because the Bavarians have fun.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, one of the thing. I mean, back to what I was talking about as far as the Dusseldorf, alt beer. I'd made quite a few of them, and I'd really enjoyed the beers that I'd made, but I'd never really had the fresh from the source beer, other than I'd had a few Erdiga.
Well, I mean, that's just it. I mean, we get the alt beers over here, like Erdiga, Dinkelhocker, and a couple others that are
Yeah.
like the Stück and the Doppelstücks.
The Stücke.
They're kind of bigger beers. When we went to
Erdiga,
Dusseldorf
yeah.
and went to Erdiga and we sat down and what
Right,
they
we
brought
wanted-
us, I was not prepared for that at all.
No.
I'm not going to say what we have. I'll let you describe it. But I was not at all prepared.
Well,
for it.
and I think we get I think if you get any of the imports, you get the really cool little tiny bottle with a big long neck.
Yeah,
it's
the
a flip
Doppelstücks
top
and
and a
stuff, yeah,
Doppelstück. And we actually, when we got there, Fritz asked him, you have a Stücke or a Doppelstück in there, a Stücke, and they're like, "What the hell are you
They looked
talking
at me like,
about?"
what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, you're such an idiot. So
And so, for those of you out there who don't know what we're talking about, a Doppelstück is to alt beer what a Doppelbock is to
Yes,
Bock beer.
exactly.
Well, and do you know how the name Stücke
No.
came about? Well, the story that I was told was that the brewers screwed up a batch of beer and came out with a beer that was too high in alcohol, so they called it a Stücke. and that's kind of slang for mistake.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So the double shtuka is just a really big mistake.
Okay.
Yeah, I could probably make a lot of bad mistakes after drinking a bunch of them.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we walk into. We didn't go to the Erdiga Brewery. We went to their
Their-
pub down in the Altstadt, and we walked in, and kind of a cool, typical environment. You know,
They had like a big German. There was
heavy
a big,
heavy oak, wooden paneled,
Yeah.
lower ceilings, kind of
a big
medieval
foosball
looking.
match. What's
Big,
going on?
yeah, big soccer match was going on, and
Foosball or soccer?
Foosball.
foosball.
That's what they call it in German.
Oh,
Foosball.
it's not football, it's foosball?
Yeah,
Okay.
you know, like foosball
Well,
table.
that's what I'm picturing guys over there at the tables like,
Well-
no spinnies.
That's why. That's why they call it foosball. Is soccer.
Oh, okay. All right.
soccer. So we're in there, and we sit down, and we're kind of looking at the menu and thinking, okay, God, we're going to be able to have a shtuk, a doppelshtuk, a regular
Yeah.
alt beer, blah blah blah. It's just one beer.
It
Guy
was
walks
that.
in,
It
he
was
goes,
that.
he goes, beer. We go, yeah,
Yeah.
we like. What kind of? And he walked. He walked away. And he comes back with these 3 little beers,
They're little tiny glasses too.
and he sits them down in front of us, and we're like, oh, okay, I guess we'll drink these.
And then
And
Mark- Marks
Listen,
each
you bring us
coaster.
these glasses, you're going to be making
And-
a lot of trips. You might
and
think
all
about
th-
some bigger glasses.
And all 3 of us took a sip at about the same time, and we all had the same look on our face when we looked at each other, like, "Wow!" It's like they just dumped a couple
It's
couple
so
hot pellets into
aggressive.
each glass.
Really?
It is so aggressive.
It's pretty
And
thin.
It's kind of a thin bodied, at least from that particular brewery, and it was just astringently hoppy.
Oh, really?
I mean, just
Literally,
like
like somebody dropped some hot pellets into
Yeah.
each glass and then
Wow.
kind of sifted the hops.
it is
out.
like in your freaking face, dude.
So
I mean,
really, if you want to distill it down for somebody who doesn't know the style, an alt beer is basically like an amber pale ale from Germany, right?
well, I would even say maybe even. Well, here's the thing. You're dealing with
I think
noble
it depends.
hops.
It depends on which brewery you go to, because we visited
Right.
2 others,
Mhm.
and I thought their beers were actually outstanding. And don't get me wrong, I loved the Erdiga beers, and
It just was
and,
well, not what you were
and
expecting.
after my second one, I think I got used to it, and I actually kind of enjoyed it. I just was not prepared for what was put in front of me. I really
Honestly-
wasn't. I was like, oh my God, what a curveball! Here we go. Woo.
Honestly, what I would say, it's almost like a German IPA.
Oh, it wasn't even. Well, it didn't even have like hop flavor, hop aroma, hop
It's
bitterness.
hop-
It
it
It was
was
like chewing on hot
it
pellets.
was like if you took a hot pellet and shoved it in your mouth
Yeah.
and started chewing on it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It was
Yeah,
just
I do know what
really,
you mean,
really. It was really odd. It was not expecting that whatsoever.
It was I guess the best way I could explain it is, to me, is it was astringent, and I don't know if it was hop astringency or if it's grain astringency or a combination of both. It was just
The beer was a little tanniny with
Sounds
all this
harsh.
hop.
Just-
It was-
doesn't
it
sound very
was
kinda
enjoyable.
harsh.
It was harsh, and I think it was undercarbonated a little bit too. So the whole
Yeah.
thing was just really odd experience. I was expecting this kind of coffery of just explosion of flavors of these alt beers that I've had in the past, and I get this thrown in front of me,
Just
and
a
I was
punch
just
in the
kind of like,
mouth.
I was like, wow, dude, what? So, hey, I got dishwater over here. Hey, can I get a beer? You know, it's just kind of weird.
And they come in these little. They're not like a strange. They're a little bigger than a strange.
The stand.
They're a little bigger around.
They're
and
probably
they're
6
smaller.
ounces,
I think they're 25 milliliters.
22 or 25 milliliters.
Yeah, something like that.
Centiliters?
Maybe centiliters. I don't
Not
know.
milliliters. That's like
Not milliliters. Yeah,
a
centiliters.
tablespoon or something.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
25 milliliters is like a
Mi-
tablespoon.
Well,
No,
what's,
no. Like
What's the 750?
Centiliters is what
Well,
you're
750.
no 750 milliliters.
50 centiliters is a normal pour over in Europe.
No, I mean it may be 4 ounce pours.
Right. So that's probably it's 25
Well,
centiliters.
a bomber is 750 milliliters.
Yeah.
1,000 milliliters equals a liter.
A liter, right.
Right. So these were 25.
Yeah, so 25 milliliters is
25
nothing.
is no, it's tiny.
Right.
I mean,
No,
literally,
25 milliliters
No,
is
no,
like
it's,
a,
no.
a
Okay, no.
tablespoon.
I'm sorry. It would be like 250 milliliters.
Yeah, maybe 250.
Yeah, 25 centiliters.
But it,
25 centiliters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
yeah, but it was
25
literally
yeah, 25
four,
CLs.
it was maybe
Yeah.
4
Right,
6
right,
ounces,
right.
right? Maybe 4 to 6 ounces.
Maybe. Yeah.
And I mean, they come around with these big baskets full of these beers, man, and they're just pow, 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 pow.
And it's just this one beer they
One
have.
beer.
at this place,
Yeah,
that's
one
it?
beer.
Oh.
And that was
Well,
kind of
they
it
actually
for
had a
most
Weiss
places.
beer. They had a Weiss beer, but it tasted
was
exactly
horrible.
the same.
See, that seems odd to me for Germany, a country that is like demands perfection out of everything. They don't make a trash can unless the trash can is like the most
the
perfect
most-
design it can possibly
Yeah,
be.
exactly.
Well,
and
this
they
must
slap
be,
these things down
but
like
these things must be exactly what they want. This is what it is.
And it was,
it's
we
so
was
contrary to any type of German beer that I've ever had.
dude, and it was freaking packed.
Really?
It was
Yeah,
packed.
Wow.
People were throwing these things back like it was the
I
best
mean,
thing on
dude,
earth.
it
And you
was-
know, and after I had the first one, I knew what I was getting, so that I kind of appreciate. Okay, this is what it is. This is what I'm.
Well, that's
drinking.
probably part of it too, is the shock of not knowing what you're getting.
Right.
Well, and so this was kind of funny. Is the original Dusseldorf Altbier, according to the BJCP. So, if you this is what they're actually saying is that the aroma clean yet robust and complex aroma of rich malt. I don't know.
There was not rich
I didn't
malt.
get that at all.
Not
from
not
this,
in not
not
in,
in
the,
that
not,
particular one.
not
No.
in the Erdigo one.
Noble hops and restrained fruity esters.
No fruity esters.
Yeah, just hops. The malt character reflects German base malt varieties. The hop aroma may vary from moderate to very low and have a very peppery, floral, or perfumey character associated with noble hops. No diacetyl. There was definitely no diacetyl.
Well, how would you know it? Because of the hop.
Yeah, it was
so
just, it was in
overpowering.
your face hops. Appearance, light amber to orange bronze to deep copper color. And you know what's funny? That's what they're saying here, but
It was
most
brown.
of them were pretty dark.
They were
almost
brown.
brown.
They were
yeah.
They were brown beers.
I don't think they would. I would say amber.
Brilliant clarity.
Yeah, yet stopping short of brown. It says brilliant clarity. They were clear, thick, creamy, long-lasting, off-wet head.
No.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Anyway, flavor, assertive hop bitterness.
Yes.
Yes, very much so.
Yes.
And
Well
it said-
balanced,
well
but sturdy
balanced.
yet clean and crisp malt character.
I didn't get the malt character. It was just
Yeah, it was
really.
they were
it was
actually kind
weak.
of thin.
But
I thought.
well, the other
Well,
two,
the other two had
the other
more.
two had really nice malt character.
Yeah.
This just at Erdigo just didn't.
Yeah,
I was
It-
really quite disappointed, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's funny because I talked to our logistics persons
Is
from
there any
Essen.
beer to drink?
Yeah, let's pop
Yeah,
open one. So we have. Let's start with the Diebels because that's not from Dusseldorf. But I really do like this
Do
beer.
we need to go get some hop pellets and throw on these? Or
Yeah.
I wanted to ask real quick with that. Were you guys getting a lot of vegetable matter in your mouth? I mean, that kind of
No, I don't think
wasn't there,
so.
but it was like someone had just thrown 4 hot pellets into my little glass of beer.
I just think it was just as tannic or, it's kind of a tannic or stringency, that I kind of get from that. So,
One of the things we got to keep in mind here too when we're reading this is the 2008 BJCP, and they changed this in the 2015
So why didn't
and-
we print out the 2015?
because
There
it's
isn't
no
a Dusseldorf.
longer
They no longer
it's
have
no
a
longer
Dusseldorf.
Its own category.
Oh, that's
yeah.
right.
It's
They-
in with what amber malty European ales or something like
You
that.
have
Yeah.
both there.
Yeah, and so the reason for that is that when they went and did these 2015 guidelines, they really designed them to be more like what y'all are talking about. If you go to Europe and drink these beers where they're brewed and the way they're supposed to be tasted, where the earlier guidelines a lot of times were written based on drinking these beers in America and what we were getting here. So when they don't quite fit the guidelines for 08, that kind of makes sense. Because that's what they decided when they did 15 was that the 08 guidelines didn't really truly reflect what it would be like to go drink these beers in the places they were brewed and the way they were done.
So this is the Diebels Alt. I think you can actually get this some places in the United States.
it's really good.
This is not okay. So when you're drinking this beer, you get that kind of dryness almost
it's,
on your
it's
got
dryness, but it's got some malty sweetness to it.
But you
too.
also
There's-
get some of that tannic character that I'm talking
A
about.
little papery
You know,
with the dryness.
yeah, it's in
a little bit.
okay.
Yeah.
So take that times 10 for some
See,
of the
this
other
has
beers
a
that we
very,
have.
very restrained hop character to it too. I
Yeah.
would say that the flavor is very low, and
You get a lot more malt
bitterness
character,
is
wouldn't you
kinda
say,
medium.
Fritz, in this particular one?
More so than the Erdigo one, yeah, but not as much as the Schlüssel or
And
the
the Schumacher, yeah.
that we had.
So that's kind of an interesting thing. So they have 17 breweries in Dusseldorf that all brew alt beer.
Mhm.
And then you go to Cologne, and they have, I think it was 21 breweries, and they all brew Kolsch, and that's it. It's so funny. And these towns are literally 30 minutes apart, and that's all they brew, and they like their beer that way. And I would imagine people in Cologne don't drink alt beer, and people in Dusseldorf don't drink Kolsch.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking at the break about our club member Dan, who his wife was German, and he moved back to Germany with her, and he had posted recently kind of an update, hey, just touching base, want to let you guys know what it's like over here. And he said that in his post talking about how Germans drink beer over there, that he said 80% of people over there pretty much just drink one beer. They drink the beer that they had in their town that they grew up in, that everybody drinks, and they just kind of they stick to that. And he said all of them are really good.
Right.
You won't have a bad beer. So it's not like they're drinking Bud Light. They're drinking something that's really good.
They're
quality.
not really beer connoisseurs.
They're not. No.
Yeah.
No.
So
it's more of a this is what we do at this time of day.
They don't perceive beer like I think we do. They perceive it as a staple. It's part of their daily life.
Yeah.
They drink it. It's what they eat.
It's ingrained in their social structure so much more. It's just much more of a normal, average, everyday thing. Anytime I've worked with Germans, they're kind of like, oh well, it's 4:30 or so. It's time to go drink beer now. That's what we do at this time of day. We're really hung up in this country on categorizing and labeling things.
yeah.
Where other countries aren't like that at all. The description they give their beer or the name or whatever has more to do with just kind of referring to where it's from.
Yeah.
More than anything.
Yeah.
Or, in England, it's like, well, this one is
Well, they
bitter and
just
this
say
one's
bitters.
not bitter, and we'll kind of designate how much alcohol
But
is in
go
it.
to Europe and go to Scotland and ask for a wee heavy. They'll look at you like you're crazy.
Right.
What the hell are you talking about?
I think part of that is because nowhere drinks the variety that we do here. I don't. Is there another country that loves Belgians, loves IPAs, loves pale ales, loves lagers, loves all of these different types of English beers, everything? Oh, rookie move, man.
Hey, you didn't have to say anything. You could have just let it go.
You're right.
No, you can watch it. It's fine. You just got to turn your audio down.
Well, I can't hear because I got these damn headphones on.
Right. All right. So let's bust open another one of these.
Yeah. So this one in particular, I don't know. Would you say compared to what you drank in Germany, that the
This is
hops
much-
are dialed way back?
Yeah. This is I think this would probably. Wouldn't you say, Fritz? This is probably a little more well-rounded overall beer than the ones that we had in Germany or in Dusseldorf.
I don't know. I really like the Schlüssel.
Yeah, the Schlüssel was good. You got a lot of bready character.
I like the Schlüssel more than this
than the
one.
Stiebels.
Yeah.
Maybe so. Okay, so this next one, I have no idea. This is Frankenheim.
Alt?
Yeah. This is Frankenheim. I don't know.
Frankenheim.
Frankenheim? Okay.
Igor drinks Frankenheim.
but I don't know. Look at this one. This one's really light compared to the ones that we've been drinking.
This is more like what it's talking about in the guidelines, almost
that's
like
about
an
the same
amber.
color as the last one.
The last one was a little darker than this, I thought. But
But
both of them was brilliantly clear, too, which I really like. This has a little bit more of like a red tint to it, I would say. Nice head retention on that.
All right. This is what we're drinking now.
This smells
If you
nice
look
bready and malty.
Very bready.
if you look
my
at
first
this
impression
too,
was,
you'll notice that you see these big rings around it. That's because they recycle all of their bottles. And these are big old heavy ass bottles. Let me tell you.
That probably came from a different brewery.
Yeah. So no telling, But anyway, here you go, Greg.
This reminds me a lot of an Oktoberfest just because of that real bready.
Yeah, that's
malt
unlike
note to
any alt beer I think I've had. I like it though.
If you gave me this, told me it was Oktoberfest, I wouldn't even question it.
Yeah.
Wow,
There's-
that's completely different.
It drinks more like a Märzen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
it does.
Märzen's
It's got a
what-
lot
yeah,
of
that's what I
sweet
mean to
malt
say, yeah.
characteristic. It doesn't have any hop characteristics.
No hops to it at all.
See, I get a little hop character in the finish, but it's not assertive at all. I mean, you get a little hop flavor, but I wouldn't even say bitterness, but maybe a little hop flavor.
You know,
in
this
the finish.
actually
The
tastes
noble
very
kinda
similar to
dirtiness.
the Rahr Oktoberfest.
Yeah, maybe.
My Oktoberfest is superior.
I would agree, but the reason I say that is because the bready flavor is
Right.
so out front,
Right.
which is what I love about that.
You get a
style of
little
beer.
chocolate in the nose too.
A little bit, yeah.
You smell it in the nose.
Yeah, you're right.
You get a little chocolate in the nose. That's maybe because I'm drinking out of a better
Chocolate,
glass,
Out of a what glass?
a good glass. Instead of
What's
a
wrong with my glass?
It's plastic.
Well, my good glass
I
has
have that
got
glass, too.
Modelo in it. I guess I could pour out the Modelo.
Hey, you know what? You know what's amazing about Modelo? It's not a bad drinking beer, but I'm telling you, drink it out of the can. Don't put it in a cup because it makes it taste bad.
All right.
I don't know. I like Modelo.
This doesn't smell very good though. It tastes much better out of the can. But no, that's interesting. What do you think, Greg?
I'd say you're right about that. I get the chocolate even with my crappy glass over here. The breadiness is there, but I get that little bit of sort of I don't know. I'm not sure which one I qualified as, but like that dirtiness of a noble hop that can
Right.
be all.
But it says
all
assertive hop bitterness. This is not
No, there's
anywhere near assertive.
No, it's not assertive.
But you know,
It's all in like late hop edition
This is-
dirtiness.
This is what's funny too, because it says comments: a bitter beer balanced by pronounced malt richness. I mean,
it's kind of a contradiction, isn't it?
Yeah, and then it says fermented at cool. Blah, blah, blah. We know all that. It's fermented low, at, low temperatures with
or low ale temperatures.
yeah,
Mhm.
and then you lager it. But it's kind of interesting, that
I really like this one.
yeah, this one is good
I like it, but I wouldn't call it an alt beer.
necessarily. Yeah,
This is more in line.
And
than
it
the
might
last
just be
one, though.
because
I just called it
it's
beer.
old.
it is
It's what?
fun.
It might just be that it's old too. I mean,
And it's lost some of its.
what we know
zip.
about hop flavor and bitterness is it drops out over time. This
Yeah.
could just be an old bottle.
Well, would you think it would be that old in Dusseldorf in a 7-Eleven?
Well, you know what they say. Shoof happens.
7-Eleven?
Well, convenience store.
Oh, okay. I thought there was actually a 7-Eleven, and I was going to ask if they smelled as bad over there as they do here.
Okay.
fermenting
Anyway,
Slurpee.
So no, you're right. That doesn't fit having bought it over there. But
yeah. So anyway, we went to Schlussel.
After that, we went to Schlussel, and of course, these are these little pubs that are
Just
brewery, that are
jam-packed.
brewery focused. So we went to this, it was a bar that specialized in Schlussel alt beers, and there's a soccer match still going on. So there's all these people outside at all these stand-up tables, and it was just kind of crazy and wild, and people were getting really excited about the soccer game, and people were just hammered. I mean, it's like
Oh yeah,
what,
I think it was like
11 o'clock.
I think it was Dusseldorf against Munich or something.
It was,
I mean,
it was Bayern
it was-
München versus Dusseldorf.
Yeah,
No, it was Berlin.
was it Berlin?
Remember, it was
Okay.
Berlin.
That-
So it was a
was
big,
it?
big game, and they were winning. Dusseldorf
Yeah.
was winning, so they were really happy.
so yeah, it must have been raucous in there, huh?
it was crazy. It was almost kind of scary trying to walk through the crowd just to get into the place because
Yeah, because everybody was shit can.
they were like getting into heated debates about teams and who was better and
Yeah.
what was
And vomiting.
and vomiting everywhere. Yes, constant vomiting in Europe.
Also, rookie move.
Hey, you know what? There wasn't one American on our trip that vomited, so we did pretty damn good.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Come on, y'all are supposed to be professional drinkers over there. You got the brewing down to a science, and then when it comes to the drinking, you can't get your act together. Come on.
Well, I'll give them this much. There might have been a lot of other Americans there drinking and throwing up too. So
So,
this next one is Slosher.
okay, I was wondering when you're saying, what was it?
What is it?
Schlussel.
I was wondering if that's what how
No,
this word was pronounced.
This is Schloss. This is like castle. The other one's
No, this is
Schlussel.
Schlusser. This is Schlusser.
no.
The
It's
umlaut.
Schloss.
Oh, ooh.
The Schloss.
Schlosser.
Schloss is castle.
Schloss.
Schloss.
Social media.
But anyway,
Social media.
But anyway, this
that,
is
that one also has a ring around the
yeah. So this has been used a little bit, But this is the other one was Schlussel. That is a key, and this is castle. So anyway, the
Well,
key brewery.
Schloss is Castle.
Yeah, Schloss. Yeah. So anyway, what do you think? I hadn't had
It's
this
got a
one yet.
blue label.
It does have.
Are
a
they all blue
label.
labels?
No, we got green, and I don't know what happened to the other
Yeah,
one.
but this is not Dusseldorf.
Oh, it's not.
Mm-mm. That's where's this one made?
It's just north.
It's kind of not too far from where your family's from, Fritz.
Basel.
Yeah. I can't read
To the
it.
camera.
Yeah. This one
At
is.
any rate,
Anyway, okay. So I'm gonna pour
reading
this
a can is not real good radio.
one. Yeah. It says Reinheitsgebot. So
This one to me is the one of the three we drank that fits.
This has got nice
What
malt,
we
but I
think.
don't get a lot of hoppiness either.
It not in the aroma, but I do get hoppiness in the flavor.
man, these are nothing like the ones we drank. All three of them are
They're all
nothing.
different. All different. Weird.
Yeah, I mean, but
Is this a Canadian alt beer? That's what it looks like.
It looks like a
If
Labatt.
you look at the label, yeah. Uh-huh.
Labatt's. No, so after drinking all of these, okay, so I've now had 6 or 7 different alt beers in Dusseldorf.
And they're all different.
and every single one of them are completely different. So
Can
how
you
do
even boil it down to like a common narrative? I mean, of the three we drank, they're 3 completely different beers. I wouldn't even put them in the same category together.
No,
I gotta be honest. These last 2 beers I wouldn't even put into the alt beer category.
Right.
Well, compared to what
Even
we
the last
had
3,
compared to the ones
Because
we had in Dusseldorf,
Even at Schumacher and at Schlussel,
yeah,
they had I wouldn't even say a medium bodied beer. They were still light to medium.
these have a lot more body
A lot
than
more
the,
malt, malt characteristic, and the ones we had in Dusseldorf were still thin to medium body and various degrees of hop assertiveness, but they all had hops in it. You definitely could tell they had hops in them.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is the bottle the 3 bottle beers that or the can and the 2 bottles we had tonight definitely had some malt backbone.
Oh, for sure.
Whereas the ones we had in
were malt
Dusseldorf, the
These
ones
have
we
all
had,
been malt forward.
Yeah.
the ones in Dusseldorf were all kind of thin and really hoppy. So it
Which
was really
really,
interesting.
if you read the guidelines, they're talking about it should be hop for the
Yeah, but
bitterness and the
but
hop
it says,
flavor
it says
should be.
here it says
Well, it kinda
medium
contradicts
bodied,
itself in one
smooth, medium high carbonation, astringency low to none. Yeah, right. No, there was a lot of astringency in most of the ones we had.
So Joseph is asking, what's the born on date? Europeans don't do that. They do a goodbye date, right? Like, am I reading this right? That this is April of 18. That's goodbye.
Yeah,
But they don't do born on there. They just do drink by.
April
right?
by
yeah, 4/18. Yeah,
Wow,
yeah. So
That's
this,
quite a
this
ways
probably
off.
this probably pretty fresh then.
Yeah,
I would think
think
so.
so. Yeah.
But no, but that's probably the way you can get away with having 17 different breweries that make the same beers. They're all
They're not
different.
really the same beer.
They may have general similarities. They're all dark. They're all ales. They're all got some hop character.
They're all brewed in Dusseldorf, so you call them a Dusseldorf alt
Yeah.
beer. Alt beer just means what? Old beer? Is that
Old
what
old
yeah.
style.
Old
Yeah,
style,
basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
before
old style
before
beer.
lager brewing, before
Yeah.
bottom fermentation.
Yeah. So which is kind of strange. So you go after Dusseldorf, we actually went 30 miles south and went to Cologne and spent the night in Cologne and had 3 or 4 different Kolsches. And
This is the
completely
one I was
different.
interested to talk to you about because you posted on Facebook that you didn't feel like there was any accurate representation of that beer in America.
no,
So-
I agree 100%.
Well, I'm sure you agree with yourself.
Well, I mean, the reason I say that is because they're super clean.
Mhm.
I would say
They don't have much fruity esters. To
They
them,
do
right?
have some fruity esters, but most of the ones, I mean, there's some people here even locally that make a pretty good Kolsch, but the I would say the nose is way different. I mean, it is just like a maybe slight. I mean, when I'm talking esters, you might get a slight little pear note,
Mhm.
or maybe a little stone fruit, but I mean, it's not. Oh, I mean, I would say the nose is probably pretty mild. As a matter of fact, if you get anything other than those two, maybe a pear, a little stone fruit, you might get malt character, but you really don't get a whole lot of that, or even maybe some notes of some hops. So that's one of the things that I really noticed when we were in Cologne is the hop assertiveness was really different from brewery to brewery. But I would say the nose are all pretty similar. Wouldn't you say, Fritz?
Well, I guess I picked up maybe a little bit different. I got a lot of very light citrus notes. in the Kolsch's that
Yeah.
that we drank. Maybe it was
You're
just
talking
me,
about
I don't know,
flavor?
maybe that's kind of what I was
in the nose, kind
In
of
the nose. Okay.
just a really really light citrus. Like
Yeah, and I think that's probably what I was saying. Stone fruit.
a very clean citrus.
Yeah, that's what I was
very
saying.
crisp and delightful, and really enjoyed those beers.
Yeah, they were really nice, and some of them were. I would say that some of them I had when we were there were probably they really varied on. Some of them were more malty, where some of them were more hoppy, like the Gaffel, which I thought was my favorite there. Had a little more hop character than maybe some of the other ones that we had.
Right.
So
Actually,
I
had
thought it was
one
more balanced.
when I did the beer dinner in Munich. Lynn Weaver from Three Weavers brought over their beers for the beer dinner, and they brought over Kolsch, and I thought it was actually quite tasty.
Good.
Very similar to what we had.
So, what would you say about American examples of it that you drank are not representative compared to?
I just don't think that they were as clean.
Okay.
I guess is the easiest way I would say.
So when you say clean, do you mean like more restrained esters and
More restrained esters, more well balanced.
Okay.
I think that's the easiest way to explain it. Balanced.
Well, you know, when the Rabbit Hole guys were in here, they talked about that the recipe for Kolsch is simple.
Yeah,
it's all the
yeah.
fermentation, and
It's fermentation.
So it would seem to me that that would be something.
And you
that
have
over
to have
hundreds
your
of
hop
years-
bitterness dialed in to a T.
Yeah, I can see how that would be
because
tough.
I
So
think
any little fluctuations you're gonna notice it in that beer.
yeah, I mean if you get that beer too hoppy, I think it ruins it. I mean, and it's I think that beer is almost like a Helles in a lot of ways, because it's got to be a perfect balance. It's got to be, you've got to have, and this is compared to what I've drank over there, and this is the second or third time I've had one. I've been in England. I mean, not in England, in Germany. But the one thing that I can always say that about a Kolsch is it's just, man, these are perfectly balanced beers. They're not really. I wouldn't really say that they're. I would say even like a Helles is more malty.
Well, that's the
than a
thing. When
Kolsch.
you compare it to a Helles, I think that a Kolsch probably would be more difficult to balance because there are more flavors in there. With a Helles, drop the esters out completely. You don't want any esters at all in a
Right.
Helles, and the hop flavor is almost
minuscule.
non-existent in a Helles too. So those are a couple of things you don't have to balance
Right.
in there. You're just talking bitterness and malt and
Right.
a good clean fermentation.
I
Where a
always-
Kolsch introduces a couple other things that you've got to balance
To me,
out.
a Kolsch is, I think you hit it right on the nail on the head. Helles is, malt forward, low hops, just clean. And a Kolsch to me I consider it a really delicate beer.
It is
Yeah.
It's an incredibly delicate beer because it's so light to medium bodied, so crisp, so dry, so spritzy, I guess is what I'm trying to.
Well, it's got to
And,
be.
and
It's
it's
got to be crushable.
it's got to be crushable. But yeah,
That's the new word, man.
Well, I think personally, when you talk about any of these beers where esters are a part of the flavor profile, where a lot of English beers are like that, where there are a certain amount of esters that are given
Yeah.
off by the yeast, those become very difficult beers to balance correctly. Because getting esters right is not a matter of putting an ingredient in
Right.
at a certain level.
And when
it's
you're-
a matter of taking care of
and
your
I would
yeast
im-
correctly.
I would imagine, Brandon, on this, in that particular style too, in the Kolsch, I would imagine water plays a really important
Oh, yeah,
role
I'm
in
sure.
that particular beer.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you don't have your water proper for that, your hops could be way off.
everything can be way off.
Way off. So I think that's probably a beer you need to really pay close attention to the water profile.
But like an analogy for me would be brewing, like say a bitter, and there's a lot of different yeasts you can use for that. And SO4 is one that I am notorious for saying that I don't really like using.
Mm-hmm.
I've had other people's beers with SO4 that I really liked. I've never been able to get it to work right for me because it's a matter of getting the esters to land where you want
know
it
what's
to be.
funny because
Anytime there's esters present in a beer intentionally, I think it's a
right.
really tough thing.
You know what's
to
funny
nail right.
because I used to really like SO4, and when I used to use it, it was down in Burleson, a different water profile.
Mm-hmm.
And when I moved up here, or when I started brewing here at the shop, I didn't like it.
That's
And
what I'm saying.
and
There's so
every
many
single
things that
one of
go
them
into
that I
that
did.
ester production.
So I wonder, now that you said that, I wonder if that didn't have some effect on it, because I'd won multiple awards with that yeast, and then I got up here and just everything I make with it, I just don't like. So makes you wonder. But anyway, not get too long winded, but once we I think Cologne, man, I wish we had more time to spend there, because we
just had kind of an evening, and
and we at least got to go through the cathedral, which was really amazing. The cathedral in Cologne, or Cologne.
Is that this?
That was the one.
That's the cathedral.
That's the one
right
that
there.
didn't get destroyed during the war because
That's
it was used
correct.
as a landmark.
It
right?
was partially hit, but they purposely did not want to bomb the cathedral.
Because they used it as a reference point of where else they were going to bomb, is how I understand it. They were like, from the cathedral, go this far, and that's what I understood. Is the bombers use that as a reference point.
Right.
If you're going to destroy the whole city, what are you going to reference where you want to do anything? Yeah.
But
that was really a gorgeous picture. That was a beautiful
actually
building.
beautiful. It's pretty incredible. So
Oh,
I think they said that has 7 or 12 million people a year visit this thing. So
Wow.
pretty incredible. But the interior, I don't think we have any interior shots, but interior is even more beautiful. So, but yeah, awesome place to visit. But after that, we went to.
Well, we stayed the night, and then
stayed
we
the
got
night
up next morning, and we jetted back into Belgium, and we were heading towards the Bastogne area to Le Chouffe, and Stubby goes, "Hey, wait a second, there's a little abbey here not too far away. Do you want to go? It's called Val-d'Eu." And I was like, "Absolutely." So we cruised up to Val-d'Eu, and we got there early in the morning, probably around 9:30, and it had rained in the morning, and it was absolutely beautiful. The sun had come out. This abbey was built in 1216, completely unmolested by any of the wars. It's in the middle of nowhere, Belgium, and in the what I'd consider the hill country, and rolling hills, beautiful, just absolutely gorgeous. We walk in, we're just walking around. The beer garden just opened, so we went and sat down. And the guy came out and said, "You can come inside and order your beers." Incredibly friendly. And we all ordered different beers, and we went back out into this little beer garden as the sun was kind of creeping up over the tops of the hills, shining down onto these, 1,000-year-old buildings. And it was probably my favorite place to be on the whole trip. I found it amazing. The beers were amazing. There was a Grand Cru, there was a triple, there was a double, there was a Brune, and I think my favorite beer was the Brune. And
well, what was really cool about this place is, and one of the things that a lot of the guys out there might not know is that the difference between a Trappistine style or brewery and an abbey is that an abbey is a church that brews beer, but a Trappist or actual Trappist beer is actually they have monks
and they live there.
Yeah, they live there. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so
The
this
abbeys,
was,
they don't necessarily have to live there.
Yeah, so this is an actual an abbey, but I'd never heard of this place before, and it truly is off the beaten path. And
it was my favorite beer of the whole trip.
Yeah, and it was really a cool little place. So we have 3 little different beers that we'll show you guys on if you're watching us live on the video. We'll show you the different ones that we're going to drink here, and we'll tell you a little bit about them. I don't know if they export to the United States or not, but it's not a really big brewery at all. But I thought it was kind of cool because we're sitting there and we're walking around the brewery, and I look and there's this brick wall, and there's just like yeast slurry coming out of the side of the brick wall. It was so odd, was it not?
Yeah, it was just kind of like, where's it coming from? Then we creeped around the other side, and they were actually cleaning out a tank that they had just transferred beer from.
All right, so
it's not like they had like a drain system. It just kind of went out through the corners of the walls and into the ground. And
the friendliest people we met in Belgium were at this brewery as well.
Yep.
I think the people that work there were very hospitable.
That makes a big difference to me.
I think it does.
People are the key ingredient in just about anything, and when they're friendly and helpful, it just adds to the enjoyment. Everything, the beer tastes better, the air tastes better.
And which one is this one?
This is the blonde.
This is the blonde, yeah.
And the one thing I would say, these guys were very excited about their beer. I mean, more so I think than anybody else. I thought that these guys were really like, hey, you want to try this?
God,
Let's try
the smell of this just
try
brings
this,
me
try
back.
this, try this, try this. I
So
mean,
the Abbey was built in 1216. And they, oh my God! And I had some of their cheese last night. I had a really, really stinky, soft, slimy kind of cheese, but it tasted oh so wonderful.
isn't that amazing, blonde?
Beer is
dude?
outstanding.
Isn't that good?
Well, you know what's great about it is it tastes like a much higher alcohol beer.
Yeah, it does. But
So this is one you could sit down and drink some of and not get completely
I don't know what is the alcohol. In this?
destroyed.
It's like
yeah,
six-
what is the
Six-
alcohol in
it's
that, Greg?
7%.
7%. Wow.
I thought it was 6. It's not.
What is it, Greg? He's got the bottle in there, so
6.
Yes.
6. Yeah, but it does.
We've got
It does.
6, 8, and 9 are the ABVs on these.
Okay, but yeah, the beers are absolutely outstanding. I think we probably drank every single one they made, didn't we?
I think we each had two, and we all got different
Yeah,
ones.
we
so
all
we could
shared them,
try.
and that's one of the things you kind of got to do when you're going around all these breweries. You kind of got to
Yeah.
go, man, I would like to drink a single one of every one of these, but then we wouldn't drive anywhere. So
Well,
it
you
was-
weren't driving anywhere. I was driving.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Do we wanna talk about that?
And I remember you guys slept quite a bit too.
He nearly killed us a couple times. Just
only,
a couple
only
times.
a couple.
I don't know if you get to be taxied around and complain about.
You know, it's interesting going around drinking at all these, Belgian breweries, and there's nothing 4 or 5% at any of these places.
No.
And then you get out on the highway and you're driving 230 kilometers per hour.
Oh well, I did hear about that actually. Yeah, about
Did
the
you?
230 kilometers per hour.
That was
Yeah,
last
yeah,
year.
Yeah.
Well, that was in a rainstorm last year at
snowstorm.
early in the morning.
Yeah, that was scary.
Which is what, about 130 miles an hour?
135 miles an hour.
135. Yeah.
Because you
Something
had
like
to
that.
drive that fast.
You had to.
yeah, he had to.
Hey, my father-in-law Lee is watching. What's up, Lee? Oh, Lee's a cool guy.
Oh, no, I'm just thinking,
Casey Kirkpatrick says Trappists are monks.
That my
I think
father-in-law's
we
not
said
watching.
that, didn't
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, Joseph is asking, is well water good for brewing? And I want to touch on that real quick because I'm moving into a place that's got well water, and I'm getting Ward Labs to analyze my water. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, you gotta. It depends on what well
Yeah,
water
it
you're getting.
depends on the well water. Yeah, we're going to talk about that more in future episodes, Joseph. So keep your ears out on that.
Okay, so now we're drinking the Brew.
Oh, we're having the Brew. This was
this is Fritz's
my favorite
favorite. I think this was your favorite beer of the whole trip, wasn't it?
Everything was my favorite there. I could have literally just stayed like a couple days. And the funny thing is, across the street they had
A feed plant. or something.
the Abbey's feed plant because they had an operating farm with cows and goats and chickens and everything else that they would need to sustain the Abbey. And once again, they had a really cool restaurant. It wasn't open when we were there.
Yeah.
But they had this really beautiful restaurant in this really, really old building, and did they have some like
Holy shit.
some walls of like old Roman?
Yeah. I
pieces
mean,
of-
think about
pieces
this.
of building?
1200, dude, was when this place was started. I mean,
That's Crusades.
More than 2.
yeah, I mean that's. But it was
It's more than 2.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a thing
Turn
I
off
say.
his mic. Isn't that good? Isn't this wonderful?
Oh, it's unbelievable.
and that's the sad thing. I'm not sure that this gets exported to the United States at all. So
I've never seen or heard of it here.
It's funny. Even I was talking with Francisco Weierman of the Weierman malting family, and telling her about this Abbey Brewery. She had never heard of it. No idea.
yeah, it's not like
This
it's that
beer
far away.
is outstanding. I could see how
Man,
you
you know
want
what,
to just stay
Fritz?
there.
I think this tastes better now than it did there. That's
I
just
don't
me.
know.
No, I'm talking about the Brew.
I mean, there's something about sitting in your studio versus sitting in their environment. I'm sorry.
Well,
Yeah.
the guy,
It tastes
Oh,
better.
there we go. There's a good picture. Those are cool glasses. I like those.
yeah. As a matter of fact,
The brew. This is really nice because it reminds me
it's not overly sweet.
the malt flavor of it reminds me kind of like a Northern English brown, but then put some Belgian esters and that kind of
Okay,
thing.
I'm
in
going
it,
to put up
dial
a
back the
picture
hops a
because
little
that picture of Brendan's just really didn't really didn't do the trick. How do I do this?
You can just- you
where's
can-
my camera? Right here.
bit. There we
Right.
go. Give it to.
Can you see
give-
that?
Oh yeah, yours is better. Yeah, there you go. That's a good one.
That's
Yeah.
what it was like.
Yeah.
Take that and put it into feelings, and that's what it
Well,
felt like.
it's just so peaceful, and we had these little birds. We had these little birds coming around, and they were like eating our cheese, and it was weird.
That
It was
sounds
like
fun.
a Disney moment. of
I'll
beer
punch those
drinking.
birds right in the face. Birds don't eat my cheese.
Here's a picture of the Abbey. Actually, can you see that?
Oh yeah, that's gorgeous.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Was it in black and white like that?
Yeah,
it was.
It was. When
Shut
you
up.
looked at it, it was black and white.
Brandon, shut up. Be quiet. Turn off his mic.
But
It's time for you to go.
Am I the new?
it was
Jared?
weird because I mean, even the guy. I mean, that was the most friendly guy we ran into. And the guy's like, "Hey, in Belgium, you know, we eat cheese and we put, what is it, celery salt on our cheese, and you know, you should try it like that. That's the way we eat it here." And I was like, "Okay, cool."
It was
But
awesome.
I mean, he was really
it
nice.
was really good too.
I mean, he was really nice and informative, and he talked about his the beers that they brewed there, and we didn't get that in a lot of other places in Belgium.
Sometimes even just by contrast, it makes it even that much better when no one else has been that friendly, and then someone
Right.
finally is. You're
Yeah.
like, this guy's the greatest guy in the world.
And it wasn't just him. Every person that worked there was extremely friendly.
There's a
and
gentleman,
helpful.
Joseph Dubois. I guess he's asking, how do we get to go on a trip with you guys like this? And all I can say is $1 million.
Yeah,
I don't get to go on the trips. Joseph.
Yeah, just give Fritz some
Me either.
roofies, and you know he'll give you some roofies.
I'm not going to complain because I get to drink the beer they bring back.
There's
so.
a lot of roofing going on.
Yeah, it's like the Euro hump trip or whatever you called this or whatever. What was it?
What?
Euroromp.
Euroromp.
Oh,
Euroromp.
Euroromp. Okay, yeah.
Wait, what's the third Valdu beer we got there? Because I'm really digging these. We're not humping or rumping.
Yeah, humping and rumping. The last one we got here is the
that
triple.
Bruin was unbelievable. That was
Isn't
really,
it
really
awesome?
good.
Bruin's good.
Yeah, and fortunately these are really small bottles.
Yeah, that's all right.
This is the triple. So I think this is a perfect complement to all our future or our past episodes leading up to this, is because we've been talking about all the different Belgian styles and how to brew them, and man, I tell you what, these guys have got it dialed in perfectly.
So how many different beers did they brew at this place?
I think
4 or
they
5?
had 8 different
8?
ones.
Wow,
yeah,
that's a lot.
they had these, and then they had like Grand Cru, and they had
Ooh, the Grand Cru is really good too.
Yeah, I got one of those over there, but
That's that big bottle that's peeking out.
Oh,
That's the one I've been looking at. That thing that needs to come over here.
yeah. You don't even need a
He's
corkscrew for
calling
that
it.
one.
He's been calling it all night.
but anyway, go ahead and I got to finish this brewing. I'm not going to just chug it.
But you could have poured mine first. It's
Oh,
sitting
I'm
right here.
sorry. I didn't see yours there. So, no, I thought this place was really fantastic, and it was a actual highlight of the trip. And so we went from here, though. We just stopped, and the guy was really friendly. He goes, "Oh, you know, if you drink too much, you can just stay right here." So evidently they have actual rooms you could rent right there at the Abbey. So I thought that would have been pretty
So it's
cool
not,
experience.
It's
I think-
not
I
if
think
you
if I-
drink too much; it's when you drink too much.
I think
Yeah.
of all the places that we went, if I went back over,
You would stay there.
I would stay there, but I'd definitely visit there again.
Oh yeah,
the,
yeah,
the other
for
places,
sure.
I don't know if I necessarily would. 'Cause
Yeah, I agree with that. I
you
agree
know,
with that.
This is just
See
really
now this triple is a lot less on the peppery side and a little bit more on the
malt.
the estery and malty side. Yeah.
It's good though.
It is really good. It's a little bit different than a couple of the others I've had.
This reminds me a little bit of like triple carmelite.
Yeah, except
Super drinkable for a 9% beer.
Oh, yeah.
You could just toss
Dangerous.
that back. Yeah.
And here's the bottle.
That should be the beginning of the description for triple.
Very drinkable.
Dangerous.
Yeah, dangerous.
Dangerous. Yeah.
Because I find the doubles, the doubles, even
Well, I can't
more
read
harder
this.
to drink for me.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I was going to read the back of this, but I can't because it's in
Your arms aren't long
something
enough.
Is it Flemish, Dutch,
Flemish,
Belgian?
Dutch, whatever,
Why don't you give it a
French.
Fletchish.
Well, Valdu sounds very French.
Yes, it
I
does.
mean, but
Valdieu. It sounds like
Valdieu.
something somebody calls you.
you Valdu.
Oh, you some kind of Valdieu.
Well,
You
we're
Valdued all over my floor.
we're going to get to that.
How dare you, Valdu? You Valduish.
Yeah, it's funny because.
You got Valdieu all over my couch.
So anyway, after here we went to
Well, after there,
we went to Baston.
we jetted down. No, we went to La Chouffe.
La Chouffe.
the
Okay.
Schuf first, and I really wish we had a little more time there because it was so damn cute. You came down out of this. You came down over this really, really high. I won't say mountain, but really big hill, and went straight down into this little valley. And in this valley, there were all these little gnomes hidden all over the place, houses with thatched roofs. I mean, it looked like something out of the Lord of the Rings, like Hobbiton.
Yeah.
It was really cute, and
And
the
you know,
brewery, the brewery
just
was
look at his
there.
hat. You know, he likes little dudes
Yeah,
bending
actually,
over.
you got. Oh, we do have the hat on the camera. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
see the hat?
There you go.
And they had this shirt I just had to buy. It says "Schuf happens."
Uh-huh.
Shit happens,
You
yeah.
get it?
Yeah.
I guess.
There's some dead time there. That's bad.
Yeah, well, I mean,
It's like
what does Schuf mean?
It's kind of like shit happens. You get it? Schuf happens.
Yeah,
Do
but
I have to really explain this to you?
well, but
Do I need to get the
can't-
crayons
I can't
out, draw you a
imagine they
picture?
name their brewery the shit. So
No, but
it was kind of a. There's a little jump.
but they had like this little tavern. Then they had the full blown restaurant there, and I really wish we would have spent some more time. But we needed to get to Orval that day.
Yeah.
So-
and Orval closed.
So
we had to get there.
So we had to bail on the tour. I really wanted to go through the brewery tour at this place. So
Yeah.
that is another place I'd love to go back to because I think the Little Gnome's cool. The beers were incredibly awesome. Here, can I put up a picture of the beers we had?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Because Brendan, he doesn't take very good pictures. So
I don't even think I took a picture.
You were
of the
all
Schuf.
video, dude.
Yeah, I did lots of videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did
My
lots of
phone
videos.
kept popping up. Brendan Stubblefield is live.
Yeah. No.
So these
Were you one of the fuckers
these,
that
these were like
unfolded?
the three different beers. So there was
That
like
unfollowed me?
No.
a creek that Will had. He liked that.
Yeah.
And then we had I think a triple and something else.
I had the Schuf. It was their IPA, Belgian
great.
IPA. Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
But this
Was
is
that
the
good?
but this is the place they wouldn't let us sit down at a table with
Yeah, they were like,
two
"No."
people at a big
Oh, yeah,
eight,
you had to be around the
at a big
fireplace,
at a
right?
big 8-top, yeah.
Only Germans do that. I think is what they're thinking.
So
But anyway,
so
it
that
was
was
a
fun.
cool
So
place.
we were there
for one beer, I think, or two beers.
We were there for two quick beers, and we jetted out of there and went down to Bastogne, which was close by, and went through the museum at Bastogne. That was
Yeah, that was
the
cool.
the Battle of the Bulge, and in that area, they had a really cool memorial to all the servicemen that served.
Yeah, I think I might actually have a picture of that, don't I? Greg, is it on there? I may not have put that up. I don't know.
Hang on a second.
It was like a big.
Of course,
I don't see anything.
Of course,
Okay, maybe I didn't.
of course I do. So hang on a second.
But anyway, no, it was a cool little thing, you know. It's like it was a memorial to Americans for the
This was the
liberation.
memorial.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Liberation.
Oh yeah, I did see that picture.
Liberation of
So if
Belgium.
you see that, it's awesome. It had everything else, every single state.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize this, but over 11,000 or 17,000 servicemen died
Yeah.
in that period of time at the Battle of Bastogne in the Bulge.
Yeah.
So.
Americans.
That monument looks kind of like they were like trying to outdo Stonehenge. Like this is what it would look like if they did it right.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's cool because each one of them, you know, has each state, and then it has like I think it doesn't it have each service member that died from that
Yeah, they
particular
had it.
state. Yeah.
Yeah, they had them all listed.
And
Yeah.
they still needed reservations from y'all, huh?
Yeah. Right.
So we were there. We quickly went through that because
Yeah.
again we're on a schedule.
Well, we were.
we wanted to get to Orval.
Yeah, I'd already had like 3 or 4 beers, and in those videos in the dark rooms watching it was tough to stay awake. I'm just saying.
Well, you knew you were going to get some nap time in the car anyway, though, right? So,
So from there we drove, and of course it's in Belgium everything's so close. So it's like
30 minutes.
30
away from everything.
miles here, 30 miles. So we
Belgium's
went
the
down
size
to
of DFW.
we got to Orval
Yeah.
with literally an hour left in our ability
Yeah.
to go tour through the ruins,
Ruins, yeah.
which was really interesting.
Okay, so did you? I didn't see that one. Did you bring an Orval?
It's in the bag somewhere.
It is in the
there.
bag too. Okay.
So we're gonna do a
is
side
there
by
2
side.
Orvals? You have one in a.
So we get to this place. We go into Orval, and of course you're not allowed to go into the.
Actual abbey,
The
which the
abbey
actual abbey is
is huge.
freaking gorgeous.
It's huge. It's amazing, but they do have the old ruins from the original abbey that was built in 1016,
Right.
which is just amazing.
Yeah, 1016. Wow.
So you kind of walked around and
And good King Wenceslas is buried there, or there was a tomb there. So
somebody's dead there.
all right. So yeah.
Don't mix those up.
All right. So whoa, this one's freaking old.
They all were.
It's a Brett beer.
So anyway, one of the things that's kind of cool after the fact is that if you guys have ever had Orval, they make one beer there, and that's it. They make one beer. But the cool thing is when you actually go to the Abbey, or where they make all the whole monastery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that they let you try the green beer. Okay, so basically the green beer is the beer before they put it in the bottle with the Brett and age it.
Yeah, so that's the key to the flavor of this beer is that it's bottle conditioned with Brett.
Brett, right? So the interesting thing is that holy crap, it was pretty hoppy, wasn't it, Fritz?
Yeah, it was.
I mean, it was like a Belgian pale ale.
It was actually, I liked it. I think better
than
the
Really?
regular
Yeah.
beer.
Yeah, so it was really interesting in the fact that, so when you go there, they give you one they give you the green beer, and then you can actually buy one that's 6 months old or a year old, and then you can buy one that's even older. So you can try them side by side. The green beer as it's aged after a year, and then one after, or maybe it was 6 months and then a year, something like that. But so anyway, the one we brought back was, I bought a 6-pack of it, and I think it was made in January 2017. It's best before 1/8/2022.
Holy moly, Rocky!
This one, the other one that you got, Greg, is it was brewed in December 15th. Well, wait a minute. I may be reading that wrong. That may be it's backwards, right? Because this is 8/1, so that's September. And that would be August 1st.
Yeah, it's day, month, year. So this was December 15th of 2016.
Yeah, so this is August 1st, 2017. So
Oh, wow.
this is pretty fresh.
That's brand new.
Yeah, so
well, this will be a pretty cool side by side then.
Side by side. So anyway, you can put up, Greg, some of the pictures of some of the ruins maybe. Did I not upload any of those, but if you guys want to see some of the pictures.
Do you want to see? I got some pictures.
Greg,
you know what's interesting too? The ABV's different on them.
Really?
Yeah, this one that Greg bought is 6.9. That one says 6.2.
Weird. I wonder if that's an export thing or versus in interesting. Really? I wonder if it's just maybe.
So
6.2?
this is the actual picture of the Abbey grounds where we were not allowed to go to.
Yeah,
Can you
that's
see that?
actual.
Oh man, that place is beautiful.
Yeah, it's absolutely
that?
beautiful.
All right, so
And there these.
So that's the actual like monastery.
Monastery,
part of it,
yeah.
right? Yeah. Okay.
and I only have one picture of some of the ruins that were from 1016. But that's what we were walking through. It was pretty cool. Can you see that?
It's all in black and white, but yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, I did it in black and white. Okay, do you want me to? Okay, you
no,
know,
I'm just.
I'm gonna. You know what? Just for you, I'm gonna.
I don't know,
I'm gonna revert it back.
Okay.
Maybe you haven't
Revive
hung
it.
around me long enough to just
All right.
let those things roll off your back, but that.
All right, there it is in color, bitch.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Still beautiful.
So it had some grass.
Oh my god. I'm gonna hit you.
No, the grass was in the Netherlands.
All right. So this that we're starting
And
with
rolls.
is what you brought back.
Yeah, this is what
That's good.
What,
That's good.
Yeah, this is what I brought back.
Wait, let me drink this first.
Which this is a really interesting
Wow.
beer.
I think this actually is what you're talking about. There is a lot more hops in this. There's a lot less Brett character.
Yeah, this is relatively young. What is it?
It's very young, yeah.
August. What was the
It's a
date on
month
it?
old.
Oh, it's a month old. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Is this the stuff that we brought back?
We brought back, yeah.
Month and a half, maybe.
Yeah, there's no bread in this at all.
I don't know.
No, and the hops are very present.
Oh, that's good.
It is good.
Wow, this is so much better than that.
Can we go back? Can we go back to one?
Yeah. Actually, this is much
I'm
better.
serious.
This
I'm
is
just
actually
like-
much better than what we had at the brewery. I think. This is
That
nice.
has a lot more body than any time I've had it before.
Yeah, so
Well, that
we're
makes
getting
sense,
well. Let's wait till this next one we have. This is one of those beers that I think you could. This one was made in 2016, but it's good till 2021.
Well, that's that Brett beer thing. I think really that it's meant to come into its character.
It feels like
Later
it's too
on,
young,
you know?
actually. 'Cause
Yeah.
You know how bread kind of has a little bit
Yeah.
of a butteriness if it's too young?
Well, you get that
I'm
kind of.
getting a little bit
We
of
don't.
that on this.
You don't get that like effervescent
Oh, yeah. No.
flavor either with this that you
A lot
do
of
in the
body.
normal.
I
Like
think you
there's a lot
guys
of
are
sugar
being
left.
really, really harsh. I think it's delicious.
No, it's not bad at all.
No,
I
I'm
like
just
it.
saying compared.
I think I like.
all right. So
every
older
other
one
I
one
traveled
better, though.
7,000 damn miles to go get this beer. It tastes delicious.
you know what's funny is actually the one that we actually drank, the green beer.
The green beer is
It,
awesome.
it was very similar to this, except it was really cloudy and it was really hoppy. I mean, it was the same flavor profile. It was just a little more hops, a little more,
What did you have at the restaurant for dinner that night?
I had a whole like cheese and meat plate.
Oh, you had the
And bread.
boring charcuterie plate. Yeah, you had the broadside plate.
Yeah.
What we had been eating for 4 days already. You
Yeah.
actually ordered that for dinner.
It looked good. Bread,
Bread,
meat,
cheese.
cheese and
Sounds
meat.
good.
Yeah. Bread, cheese, and meat. It's the same, and you know what? It's
Cheese,
the
meat,
same.
cheese,
It's the
meat,
same
and that's it.
damn meat and cheese and bread in every freaking town you go to.
It's like the rolls are the same size, same shape, same flavor, same texture.
But anyway,
So weird.
all right.
Well, it's kind of akin to drinking Kolsch all your life and only drinking.
So,
that,
what would you say the keys to brewing this beer would be? Brew a good Belgian pale ale and finish it
Funk
with
it up.
bread.
With more body.
Well, I'm surprised
You got to
actually.
boost the extra sugar in that for that bread to eat after the
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah.
There's still some body left in this.
There's a lot compared to the ones all
Yeah.
the ones I've had before now.
Well, really, any
Whoa,
beer that you're
so-
going to put bread in post fermentation.
Did you hear the difference in
the?
the carbonation
Yeah.
when I just opened this one versus the last one? It was
Well,
like,
that was me.
yeah, I heard a lot of that. Germany
Casey
and Belgium.
Kirkpatrick is wondering if any of y'all have been to the Bavaria Brewery.
Bavaria
Brewery, where? Bavarian? Brewery?
Oh, the Bavaria Brewery. No, I have never been to the Bavaria Brewery.
He was saying he toured it a couple years back. Was wondering if any of us had been there.
I have not.
I
been
have
there.
not.
All right.
I haven't been over there at all, sadly.
Look at
You dig it the most, baby.
Greg, you've never been over there?
Not yet.
Oh, as they would say in
Now
German.
you have kids
as
too.
they would say in German, wie schade.
Schade.
That
Scheiße.
sucks ass.
Is that German for pobrecito?
I
No,
thought
that's
that was
German. That's German for oh, so sorry, bitch.
Scheißekopf.
Pobrecito, yeah.
Scheißekopf. That's my family name.
See, I like the
Oh
older
wow, I
Orval better.
Greg, I do get the butter. I just slammed, I just drank the last sip of that beer, and I did get a little bit of a butter.
It's that bread thing.
yeah.
When they're young, there's a lot of butter.
You get Brett in this one.
Yeah, see, I like the older one better.
Well,
Yeah.
Brett takes a while, so
I could smell that
Like you were
immediately,
saying,
too.
there's an effervescence to it that I think is a key to it, and then just
You
that.
get almost like
It's drier,
some
too.
carbonic acid too.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't even know if necessarily the hops are lower in this as much as it is that the Brett flavor is higher and kind of
Yeah.
messes with it a little bit.
Well, the
You know,
body's
there's-
so much lighter and leaner.
Right. Yeah, it
this
is.
definitely doesn't have any body compared to the last one we
No.
had. So
Every one I've had is usually a lot older, I think, and that's the thing.
It's
Well-
funny. I talked to Doug Zent about this beer, and he always says, "I won't buy this beer because over in Europe it's 75 cents a bottle, and it's $4 a bottle." Here."
bullshit.
Maybe that was when he was there a while ago.
It's not 75 cents a bottle. I swear to God.
Well, there you go, Doug. You can start buying the beer again.
yeah. About $20 20 euros a 6-pack.
Whoa!
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's more expensive there.
No,
'Cause it's
not
about $4 a bottle
necessarily
here.
$4 a bottle, but you get a 6-pack for 20. So
20 euros.
Well,
Well, I guess
yeah.
right now it's about 1-to-1, right?
No, about 20% more.
It's closer to $6 a bottle.
It's
here.
about $1.19, $1.20.
Total wine.
$6
anyway.
a bottle
It's
here?
like 5 something.
Yeah.
That was like
5
4.
something.
Yeah, it's not cheap, dude.
At any rate, I think it's worth it. I love this beer. I've always loved this beer.
It's interesting beer. You know what? This goes great with pizza. It really does.
Really?
I am not lying to you. I love this beer with pizza.
I would
It's so good.
drink this beer with like mussels. Or
Yeah.
It is
something
good.
It's just 'cause, like
it
me,
matches
you know,
a lot
got
of food.
muscles.
Well, you're always drinking with mussels, right? Yeah.
No, so I think I had a lot of people ask me about this beer and how should you make it, and I think this would be an easy beer to replicate. I really do.
Doug actually brewed a pretty close.
You can get a Belgian
version of
pale
it.
ale and then just bottle it with some Brett Brooks. I would imagine.
I remember for a while there was a specific. There was
Yeah,
a
that's gonna be
specific
good radio.
designation for this beer in BJCP. Like if you were gonna brew one that was a clone of this beer, you had to declare it's an Orval clone, right? Yeah, I don't
Okay.
know if that's true anymore.
No, I think this is a great use of Brett.
Yeah, well, I agree.
And that's the thing, though. A lot of people don't realize is that Brett doesn't really. You don't really get this flavor with Brett unless it's really stressed.
Right.
And
If you just pitch pure Brett, when it's got oxygen and nutrients and lots of sugar to chew
You're not going
on,
to get that flavor.
you're going to
get
get
the
some
fruitiness.
character out of it, but not the funkiness out of it.
No, you get like a lot of tropical.
Yeah, like a fruitiness to it, where you really need to stress Brett out.
Where you get
need
that
to
barnyard.
deprive it of oxygen and nutrients, and have alcohol
For
present,
bottling
that kind of thing.
in
Yeah,
this. Exactly.
yeah, and they bottle it with the Brett with this one, and that's where the flavor comes from. And I think it's fantastic. I like it. I like the older version of it a lot better than the
Yeah,
the
and
younger
this is
version.
a beer that you can sell her. This is one of the
Yep.
few beers that you can sell her. It really is.
Obviously,
it
it
is.
says it's good till 2028, 34,
Yeah,
54.
whatever it was,
You buy it and you
2021.
pass it on to your grandchildren.
Yeah, it's not quite as bad as like those Scotch guys that make Scotch. They're going to be dead before it's actually ready to drink. But
I don't
anyway.
know how anybody does that.
You're at
I'm making this
150 right
stuff.
now, just FYI.
It's
so
gonna be great.
okay, so anyway, after Orval, we hauled ass to Munich.
No, we didn't.
No, we did not. Where did we go?
Luxembourg City.
Oh yeah. We went to Luxembourg. Luxembourg on the way. We stayed the night in Luxembourg because we'd never been to Luxembourg as a country. It's about the size of Rhode Island, and
A lot of banks, right?
well, it was really interesting because I was like, okay, so we've been all over Europe, and all these countries have been taken over and like overthrown, and different borders changed, but Luxembourg is still there. And I was like, Fritz, I wonder how the hell did Luxembourg not change borders and didn't change and really didn't, it's still a country and it's a little tiny country.
Don't they control everybody's money? Isn't that what
Well,
it
it does now, but we were looking at it. So anyway, we got there and we're like, holy shit, this city is like on this big ass plateau and there's like 300-foot drops all around the center
So
of
you
the
have,
city.
you have like a 50-story skyscraper on top of this 300-foot cliff.
Yeah.
And then we have to take an elevator
to get
to go
anywhere.
down to the lower section of the city.
Yeah.
30
It's
stories
insane.
down. It's just really
like
weird.
this big, it's like a cliffed city. It's like,
Sounds like something out of Game of Thrones.
it really is, dude. I mean, it is like crazy. I mean, so I totally can see why the city never really got attacked or over the centuries, because it's just like it's strategically perfect.
If you have to take an elevator to attack your opponent, it's not going to work real well.
Right.
6 people at a time.
With their spears and freaking, the trebuchet wouldn't quite fit in there,
Right,
right? So, no,
But we did end up at this great little bar called
Craft-
Liquid.
Yeah, it was a craft beer bar, and we met some good, interesting characters, and we're friends with them on Facebook now. And
But their definition of good craft beer is
my God, what is all this crackling shit I hear everywhere? Oh, it's Fritz.
you can hear that?
Yes.
Yeah, kind of a lot.
Can you hear this?
No, but so it was really funny because we're sitting there and we're talking to the people that live in Luxembourg, and they, of course, they don't live in Luxembourg because it's too expensive to live in Luxembourg, because they do control everybody's money, and it's a big financial center, right? It's a very expensive place to live and to work and to play.
I believe it's one of the more expensive places in the world.
Yeah, and I think their medium income is like $100,000 or something. 100,000 euros.
They're all bankers.
Yeah, they all work in the banking institution somewhere along the way. But what I
the
found,
maids are dragging down the median.
well, so the service people there, they're all from outside of Luxembourg. They don't live there, so we're there, and
You've got to try this beer.
yeah, you got to try this beer. This beer is phenomenal.
Where is it?
It's from It was from Oregon. And we get it, dude, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the most oxidized beer I've ever tasted in my life. It was horrendous.
Was it from
But
the 90s?
Maybe.
It was a drain.
It didn't have any date on it. And this is a fantastic brewery out of Oregon that I've had multiple times. Every time I go up to Las Vegas, I always get a 6-pack or 2 of it. It's called Caldera.
Yeah, I've had some of their beers.
And they're really good. And man, it was rough over there. But
they thought it was the greatest thing.
They thought it was the greatest thing ever. And I'm just like, man, you guys really don't understand craft beer. But anyway, fast forward, we left there. We went to Munich. That was an interesting experience because I hadn't been to Munich since this whole craft beer thing has started to hit Germany. Right, and
now typical German fashion, they're not trying to take the ingredients that are available and make craft beer. They're trying to make their own American style hops and make their own American style beers. Right?
Yes, and I'm not going to get really into it, but and I'm sure the people that brewed this beer was, and I think this is just the mentality of the German people, is they think, hey, we brew good beer here. It's the best thing we ever brew. It's just good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
not in the case of the night in Munich.
So anyway, we went to this place and they were having a beer pairing of some brewery out of Berlin, right? And they had all these beer pairings with different pizzas and stuff, We're sitting there and we're going. I was like, oh, man, I got to try this beer. It's called Holy Shit Ale. Holy Shit
Shit
Ale.
And holy shit.
And so I'm sitting there. We popped the lid
Sort
off,
of like good-ass beer.
We popped. We each got the same beer, so we popped the lid, and it starts foaming out the top.
Yeah, it's a gusher.
It's a gusher.
All
So
of them gusher.
It's infected.
We drank halfway down, and it's still creating enough foam.
It's still running
still
over.
gushing out.
Wow.
So anyway,
So there was a huge Acetobacter issue with this beer.
There you go.
So anyway, I looked at Fritz after I drank it. I'm like, holy shit! I know why they say this is. They call this Holy Shit Ale. Holy shit! This is terrible.
That's amazing to me that a German brewery would serve that.
Well, so I
Knowing
went
I
over.
don't think they
Yeah.
understand though. Dude.
I went over, and this
Come on,
This
now.
guy-
There
No,
ain't
dude,
infected
this guy
beer.
is a Weinstefan graduate too, and
Yeah.
we were there with a friend of mine who's an American girl who's working in a Munich brewery. And that's why we were there. And this guy gets up and he asked me how his beers were. Of course, I was polite. I said, "Oh, they're fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing."
We thought it was a black IPA.
And I started talking to him about this holy shit IPA. We're thinking it's a black IPA because it has so many
like roasty, dark fruit
characteristics to it, some roast characteristics to it, tobacco kind of roast. And the guy goes, "No, it's just 100% Pilsner malt and blah 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 blah. What are you talking about? You don't know."
100% Pilsner malt.
And he's like, "You don't know what you're talking about, and my beer is fantastic, and I think you're just wrong." And just arrogance and just whatever. And I just wanted to slap him in the face and go, "Dude, your beer sucks." But I didn't. And he was so proud and so just over the top about it. And, of course, I was just being polite and kind of listened to him. I was just going, this guy has no
We
idea.
do. How terrible.
And I go, if this is the status of Berlin craft beer,
Wow.
the time is ripe to start selling my beer over there.
Yeah. Well, and think about it.
Well,
Man,
that was
Stone
gonna
must
be-
be knocking it dead over
That
there.
was
Stone
going to
must
be
be
my
killing
my
it over
question because you did post some photos that Dadgum made some appearances over there.
Yeah.
So was it just in graphic format only that it made appearances?
Well,
or-
we drank a lot of it.
Well, we're talking to some distributors and some avenues of getting our beer over to Europe.
okay.
So
Yeah.
Thank you. Good job. They need it, apparently.
Yeah, evidently. Yeah.
so
Well, and that's the thing, though, is it's funny because we went to another, and this is kind of the whole big craft beer thing, I guess, that's kind of blossoming in Europe. And one of the things I found really interesting is we got invited to it was a little shindig, and it was not exactly what I was expecting.
Was it Shizer orgy?
No, we got that bad, thank God.
Okay, all right.
But we got invited to a little. It was a guy from Coronado Brewing was doing a little. I think he was just really doing kind of a tasting type thing. I think it was one of these distributors was having him out.
Coronado's good stuff.
well, Coronado, yeah. Rick Chapman, the owner,
Yeah.
he was there with us, and I think he was actually launching his beers in Germany that week.
Okay, is that what it
And
was?
so we
Okay.
were at this place called Bruvana,
Bruvana. Yeah.
and we thought it was going to be more of a kind of a bar environment.
Right.
It's just a bottle shop.
It was a bottle shop, and it was so freaking packed.
Well,
I mean, packed
it was
with shit.
it was only a 15 by 15 space, basically.
And it had bottles to the hilt, dude. I mean, you had to like weave your way through this maze of bottles and cases and shit to get to the pisser.
they had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different beers,
Yeah, and
and a lot of American beers.
yeah, and they were all sitting on the shelf, hot.
Hot, yeah.
And I mean, some of these beers I know for a fact were 2+ years old, and so it's kind of like, how? I mean, I understand. It's kind of the same token that we have here, or the same thing problem we have with getting European beers here, is how are they treated? How do you know you're getting representative beer from Europe if it's not being treated properly? It's not in a cooler. It's on a hot container. It's and then it sits on a shelf at the liquor store. It's probably not going to be very representative of what that particular beer is. And how do you control that? You know?
Because we have a lot of beer that we make that does not last for a damn long time.
Oh,
you
no.
lose a lot of character.
No. And honestly, for example, I think that's a great point because, we drank the West Mall. Yes, it was different. Yes, the younger one was better, but I don't think it was that different. I mean, it was, yes, was it different? Yes. But was it so different that it wasn't representative of that brand? I think it's because it's like, it's 10% alcohol beer. That doesn't necessarily, age as well.
Right.
And also they're bottle conditioned, so they have a little bit longer shelf life too. You
Right.
don't have to worry about oxidation and stuff of that nature.
I want to answer Casey Kirkpatrick real quick here. He's asking, so excessive foaming correlates to higher acidity. Excessive foaming is an indication that you have an infection in your beer.
Yes.
Is what we're getting at. with
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
necessarily higher acidity.
Well, and it not necessarily
the,
even
the excessive foaming or slight gushing comes from
acetobacter.
in airborne bacteria. It's just called acetobacter. Luckily, it doesn't really alter or change the flavor of the beer.
Unless it gets in there early.
It's just it feeds on oxygen, so you can have acetobacter in your beer, but if you have really low oxygen in your dissolved oxygen in your beer, it's never going to kind of develop. But if you have high oxygen in your beer, it'll feed on that, and then you'll get extra carbonation in your beer, which creates carbonation and foaming and gushing and continual gushing as you drink the beer.
Well, it's also a thinner body too, doesn't it? Thin your beer out some when it does that.
Yeah, because there's a little bit of secondary fermentation going on.
Right.
But it's not enough to
There's an indication there's a
But
problem.
it really doesn't
Yeah.
change the flavor. It's just it's a problem,
Well,
and it's
it does-
unsightly, and it's not good because it usually creates a lot of protein, true, whatever kind of flakes in the bottom of the beer.
Yeah.
I'd say it throws off the whole flavor profile.
Yeah,
in
because
the
you
long
have all
run.
that carbonic
I mean, 'cause
acid and all that.
There's so
It-
much carbonation, you're losing what you need to have in that first sip.
I guess what I'm saying, it's not like a lacto or something where it goes
Yeah,
in
like a
sour.
Brett or-
Well, enough acetobacter
it's
and
not
you
a
end up
souring
with a vinegar
agent.
taste, though.
It's not a
Well,
souring agent.
and I think but that's what acetobacter does is produce acetic
Vinegar.
acid.
Yeah, acetic acid.
But the difference is when if you're getting in a bottling, it's not, you don't have enough fermentable sugar to worry about. But it's when you get acetobacter infection early on, that's when it can make it
Right.
really taste
You know,
vinegary.
Like
That's
One thing
what
that's
wine
blown my mind
is.
about this,
Yeah.
what your story is about where
It
this
has to have
happened,
oxygen.
and
a lot of
what
oxygen.
happened where this happened was the story that some of our listeners are familiar with, which is Stubby told us about Fritz's story about the brewer from Germany that was saying, "You're not brewing that craft crap, right?"
Oh, that
and
was
yet-
from the year before, yeah.
That was
well,
last year.
the thing though is
It wasn't
like,
craft
here-
crap.
whatever the craft
The crap.
He said craft shit.
craft shit. Sorry.
You're not brewing that craft shit.
Well, what
buddy.
gets me
Was
here
that
is-
Andreas?
Well, maybe that's why. Maybe because over there,
It is craft
It
shit.
is shit.
If it
Yeah.
is coming across, that makes a whole difference to that story. If not, and people over there
Well, and
thinking
I even had
good,
some of
that makes a whole difference.
the craft breweries there in Munich, and I was not impressed. You know what? However, though, we did have some really good beer at Brew.
I had some in Italy that I thought was out of this world. They made some really nice craft beers in Rome.
It was just
I've
our
heard that,
experience
yeah.
there. I mean,
AJ went,
we
yeah.
had some good craft beer, don't you think? American craft beer at Brew
Oh, absolutely.
in Nuremberg.
But we had Brew Republic, which is Munich. That was good.
Yeah. I had one of theirs that wasn't very good, but
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Sorry.
so anyway, let's finish the trip. So we finished the trip. We went to Brown. We did all that stuff, and then we ended up being at
The first day of Oktoberfest, the grand ceremonies. in
Yeah,
the
but
rain.
I think.
They drink comp.
Yeah, they have a Hefeweizen, a Dunkelweizen, and yeah. Dude, I know everybody loves Applebee's here. Take it. Oh man.
And liters of beer
Yeah.
in her.
You don't ever see that.
crowds.
That was really disappointing because I was expecting the really hot.
For me, I don't enjoy the elbow to elbow super stuffed in
Well,
crowds. Or
that was
anything
what
like
was
that.
really nice because Irix or Irex actually set us up with a pretty good private table up at the top. so we didn't have to deal with all the shit on the bottom.
Well, my
Same
thing
time,
was, although I don't enjoy that, I had a blast. I
Yeah.
thought it was a great time.
Well,
I didn't mind the
here is
crowds.
some of the food that you could have purchased at the Oktoberfest.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
In the town.
Do we have that on the camera? There we go. See, the one I went to was pretty much half a chicken was what you were buying.
That looks
They
pretty
had-
good right now.
They had
It
just
was-
a
oh my
ton of
God, it was
rotisserie
so good.
chickens, and man, they were delicious. The food was
Yeah.
great.
So
Beer was cheap.
Here's how awesome the day was. We managed to we started drinking at Augustiner Keller at maybe about 9 o'clock, and we drank 3.5
the night
liters
before?
there.
The
Yeah,
night
the night
before?
before.
No, we had
Yeah.
about 4.5.
Yeah, and but anyway, we finished by 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, with 12.5 liters of beer within 24 hours.
Wait
And
a
you
minute,
start
say that again,
you
say
start
that again.
figuring that at 12.5 liters.
12.5 liters in 24. Okay.
Less,
I think it was a little bit more than
it was-
that. I think it was closer to 15.
I was
Yeah.
the one I was at.
Well
I think
done.
we were there for 3 or 4 hours. and
15 liters of beer. That's 2 full cases of beer.
I had 5 liters of beer in a few hours, and I don't remember going back to the hotel room. And then the next morning, I was supposed to. I take that back. I do remember getting to my hotel room and bouncing off every wall. Literally, I couldn't stand up.
Did you
when I got
vomit
there.
in a urinal?
I did. I didn't vomit. This isn't 1995,
Well, you should have, because
dude.
it would have been like cool, because they like that.
And the next morning, we were supposed to take a tour of the Mercedes museum there, and I woke up
In
and
Stuttgart?
I was still drunk. Yeah, I got dressed and went down and everything, and went, no, this ain't gonna happen.
There's nothing more fun than pissing in a urinal and going, oh, it's meat, cheese, and bread. Meat, cheese, and bread.
That's ill. We've got another Valdieu on the table
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Oh, I guess we got to drink it.
It wasn't
we
on the
should.
table before, but now it is.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
So,
gonna go ahead and open this.
but no, a really good trip. Honest to God, I wasn't really excited about going to Oktoberfest, but Fritz said I got to go because it's a bucket list thing, and I was afraid of getting blown up since it was the first day of Oktoberfest. But anyway, no, it's because your son kept talking about it.
Well,
We're gonna get blown up.
the thing
We're
was,
gonna
that
get
there
blown
was-
up. We're gonna get
well-
blown up. It's the first day of Oktoberfest.
But there was a bomb. There was a train bombing in London.
Yeah,
the day
the night before,
so
yeah.
we're going great. We're all gonna die.
Well,
There's
we-
never
we-
been an Oktoberfest bombing.
Yeah, we'd have been drunk anyway.
Oh, great.
Who would have cared?
Yeah, you just jinxed the whole thing. Thanks a lot.
I don't think I have that kind of power.
There was
Wait a
lots of
second,
machine
wait a second,
guns. I'll
guys,
just say
wait,
that.
Wait, listen.
Woo!
There we go. No, but the one
Did
thing
you hear that?
I took, I
Oh my
did. It was
God.
wonderful. The one thing I took away from the beer festival I went to is it was something that I did not think I would enjoy. It's not a format that I typically like, and it was one of the best times I've ever had in my life. I loved it. I even had a German guy come up to me because I was talking to his girlfriend and he didn't like that. And he says, "I hate Americans."
Get a real glass.
You know what I thought was kind of unique? I was expecting to be in these beer tents. 'Cause I've been to Oktoberfest once before, but never been in a tent. So we went in a tent, and I was expecting these guys to be singing all these fantastic German beer songs.
Yeah.
And they're singing shit like Sweet
Hey,
Caroline.
hey, baby.
Hey, baby.
Yeah,
I want to know.
You be my girl.
I'm like, really? They're singing like all these cheesy American stuff. I'm going,
They had a band at the
I'm
one I
so
went to.
disappointed.
It was called Party Fursten.
Party
Party
Fursten.
Fursten, and it was exactly like, it was like these weird Euro pop versions of
American
American songs from the 70s
The
and
only
80s.
thing,
yeah.
only thing it was different. I mean, it was kind of strange because it was like there wasn't even like a whole lot of oompa bands and
There's
stuff.
nothing.
It
It
was
was-
just like
No.
Well, they had the band up there, but they were not
Kinda-
playing German stuff. I
yeah.
was-
Every once in a while they would go. They go. They do the I'm prosit, I'm prosit.
But that would be it. That was it. There was
Yeah.
all. I was looking
Ziggy
so
zaggy, ziggy zaggy, oi oi
forward
oi.
to some great German
mean,
beer drinking songs.
that
and
was
they did
it. That was
nothing.
it.
Nothing.
That was it. It
Yeah.
was kind of disappointing. But and then the whole time everybody at Oktoberfest, this was the deal. You had people getting up and standing up on the table and chugging their beer.
If you could slam a whole liter,
Everybody
then the
go
whole-
woo.
Yeah, people would go
and then
crazy.
and then if you didn't
And then they
finish,
would-
everybody go boo.
and then
was
the guy,
it.
And then the guy would puke.
Well, that was the thing is anytime I was disappointed with the music they were playing, you just turn about 30 degrees to the side, and you watch all the good-looking young women standing on tables dancing, and everything is okay.
I tell you, there's
know?
nothing like a dirndl.
No, I agree.
See?
And you know what?
Right, Craig?
Yeah.
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 Did you say
Yeah,
see?
for sure.
See? Yeah.
Si, senorita.
Si, senor. Dirndl.
That was fun. You know, we all got dressed up. It was fun. We were all in our lederhosen, and
Yeah, I noticed
I
y'all
thought
brought
the-
those. I had a feeling that, so it was all planned, right?
I thought the
hell yeah.
lederhosen thing was kind of a campy, exaggerated type of like stereotypical type of thing. And then we were there and like, no, like
no,
a lot of people wear that shit.
90% of the people there
yeah.
were wearing lederhosen.
Right. I felt weird because I wasn't wearing lederhosen, which has never
Yeah,
happened
you
in
stood
my
out
life
like the
before.
dumb American.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I made up for it in beer consumptions and chicken consumption. So
Oh, the henching there is amazing.
Is it
Yeah.
easy to get through the crowd and all of that? I mean,
it really is. I
it
had
really
no
wasn't that
problems
bad.
at all.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
every video that I saw coming out of this, I thought, holy shit, man.
There's
That's the
so
kind of
many
stuff
people.
where you just want to start throwing elbows at. It's like, get out of
It's
the
not.
That's the thing is
the great thing is, everybody's so nice, so kind, having
Yeah.
a great time. It's
Pardon me, I just vomited right at your feet.
and,
Well-
and you would pat him on the back and go, it's all right, don't worry about it.
Well, and the funny thing was, I'll say this is that it was amazing. You drive a bazillion miles an hour over there. I didn't
drink
see.
a bazillion miles an
honestly,
hour.
we almost had a few near misses. Fritz
Almost had a few near misses.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
we
wait
had
a second.
few
We
near-
actually almost got ran over by a couple cars in Munich, right outside the Marion Platz.
Yeah, we
but
did.
We literally walked right out in the middle of the street when we
Yeah.
shouldn't have.
Yeah, by a Porsche though, at least. But
If you're
The
going to get
clip
hit by
is-
something, it might as well be something nice, right?
yeah, because if they clipped us, we'd
Take out your
we'd have
knees.
fucked up that damn Porsche's hood. I'm just saying. But anyway, but one of the things was
Especially from the metal shin I got in Spain.
I mean, honestly, it was amazing to me. There's a couple pointers that I took from going to Europe this go around is that, wow, they drive a million miles an hour, but the whole time we were over there, I didn't see one single wreck or accident. But you know what? I got home and I drove up 35 the next day and I saw 3.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's the
But I
problem
think the
there?
thing is when they do have accidents, it's catastrophic.
Oh, I imagine it is. Yeah. You're
a lot
dead.
of motorcycles
You're
crashing
dead.
and stuff, from what I've heard. But
Yeah, you're dead. But anyway, it was a really good trip. If I was to go to Oktoberfest again, the only way I would go is if I went the first day and watched the entrance of all the unbelievable, beautiful the pomp and circumstance was
really
amazing.
impressive.
I think
They treat
see,
their
I've always liked Pump. I've never been into Circumstance.
they treat their brewery family owners like
royalty.
like royalty.
Even
It's
though
amazing.
half of them are owned by AB InBev. But
That's
anyway,
true. That is very true. You know?
but I would say though that the favorite beer that we had there, the best. Wouldn't you say, Fritz, the best?
At the Oktoberfest was
Hacker
the
Shore.
Hacker Shore.
Yeah,
The Helles.
Hacker Shore. Their fest beer was by far the
It's
best.
still pretty good here, too.
Yeah, Hacker Shore is amazing.
yeah, Hacker Shore is pretty
Yeah.
difficult.
But
to
anyway,
beat.
I know this is a little different episode than what we normally do, but I think it's kind of fun to talk about these different styles and all these are all classic
This is
beer
a
styles.
cultural
Well,
It's a
episode.
cultural
the
thing,
thing
but
about
it's all
something like this is that when you go to Europe and you come back, it's tough to convey to people how important it is that you go there.
yeah.
That's the
especially
thing,
if you're a beer lover.
Yeah, because there's no truly explaining the experience. There really isn't.
Yeah,
It's
you
just
have to be
a wonderful
there
place
at the
and-
source.
And like Fritz was saying, when you were talking about Val Dieu, and you were saying that you thought it tasted better tonight, and he says no. When you're sitting there experiencing, it's more about the experience of the whole thing, and to me, it's a much more relaxing and just really cool culture to be in, and you really should. If you listen to this and you think, man, I want to do that, go out and do it.
Do
Do
it,
whatever you can to
yeah.
go out and do it because it's really important.
Well,
It's every bit as good as you think it's going to be.
the
I
thing-
gotta say that the impression, the experience at Valdu for me is a life experience.
It's
And
spiritual.
I
almost, you know?
got to share it with my son and Brendan, and it's there's a lot of things on that trip that we did that were a lot of fun that I completely forgot. Like Brendan we forgot to talk about the Belgian Brussels craft beer project.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And that was a great bar. They made great beer, but it was cool, but it just didn't leave too great of an impression on me. But something like Valdu was just it's something that I'll remember the rest of my life like it was yesterday.
That's one of the things that's really cool about places like that is they're almost like spiritual because it's kind of
Yes.
it's like this weird kind of. I mean, some of these abbeys or things are kind of creepy in a weird way, but it's spiritual at the same time, and it's old, and it's like. I mean,
when
it's
you get
just-
into anything that old, there is an element of creepiness to it.
There's
There
a lot
really
of
is.
death involved.
Yeah.
A
I
lot
mean,
of
think
death.
about that though. I mean,
So
you
much
think about it.
history. So
There's
much history.
I mean,
That's where we keep all the history is in Europe.
and I didn't upload any of these pictures, but I mean, just the confessionals at Valdu, man, the carvings were just freaking incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, they had like these wooden, these wooden people like crying, and it was just like
An incredible amount of
incredible.
effort was put in.
Oh
over the
my
years,
God!
yeah.
I mean, just the artisanship that was gone. and
That's
just
the
in
thing
this,
for
like,
me when I talk about when I like to go and spend a lot of time in
Okay,
one place.
here's one of those confessionals.
Oh yeah, there you go. Great picture.
Yeah,
See that?
Oh wow.
yeah. It's just
When I talk
incredible.
about going and wanting to spend a lot of time in one place, that's the thing for me is when I come across something like that, I want to sit there and I want to stare at it for a while, and I want.
Well,
Zorba.
and that's the thing is, if I went back, I would go and visit and maybe stay in the night there
Yeah.
and I would drink.
Think
all
how
of
creepy it
their
would
beer.
be at night.
Yeah, it might be creepy there.
That'd be so cool.
but that's the extent to which these kind of places move you when you're in Europe and you're going to some of these places that let's face it, there's anywhere close to that old in this country
No.
that we can deal with, and you go there and just the connection to the past that you
Right.
feel, and that's the cool thing about the beer too. The beer is a connection to the past
Yeah,
because
for
they've been
sure.
brewing these same couple of beers. You talk about
Well, that's why they got them nailed down.
right. Yeah, they'll do
kinda-
2 beers for 1,000 years.
they got
and
'em.
the connection to the past is undeniable, and you sit there and you feel something
Well,
different.
that was
and,
even strange, when I went to Bendorf, and that's, my family's ancestral home. This is what I'm thinking. The cathedral was built in the 1200s, and I'm thinking, well, my ancestors actually left there in the what was it, the 1700s. So I know that my ancestors walked that church.
right.
So it's kind of like,
And
wow.
that's an inconceivable
that's-
amount of time too. I mean, it's insane to think about that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
but I
And
mean, something 200 years here gets mulled over.
Right, exactly.
It doesn't last.
We
100
remodel
years,
with
man.
bulldozers, yeah.
So those are some amazing things, and I mean, you can almost, when you're walking through those halls, those places like that, you can almost feel
The history.
the history and the ambiance, and I mean, all these souls that walk those halls.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
It's kind of creepy.
we talk a lot about the community of beer in America and the community of independent craft brewing, and it's an important part of it. We feel connected to the people that brew it. When you go to a brewery that you love, when we go to Rahr, we know the people that work there. It's a part of our community. It's a part of Fort Worth. Rahr is kind of a badge of Fort Worth and that kind of thing. And that's to you take that same type of thing and you apply it to something over 500, 600, 700 years, and you go do it over there. When you go to one of those breweries over there and you experience something like that, it's a connection to the actual community, the actual people that lived in that place for years and years and years. It's not possible to describe what it feels like to go do it. You just have to go do it.
And Fritz, I we didn't really talk about your brewery much, but one of the things I would like to hit on is kind of, is that not inspirational when you go to places like that and you taste these beers and you're like, oh my God,
I want
this
to
is
do that.
amazing. Yeah, I want to make
Yeah,
this.
I want to make them, and I want to make them as solid and as perfect as they do over there.
Yeah, and I mean the Valdoo is a perfect example. I mean, that's inspirational.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
and I think as a home brewer or a professional brewer, I think a lot of times you go through. Yeah, of course you get all the normal staples here, the big breweries, but I thought this was kind of a little unique brew that we happened upon that none of us had ever heard of. You know, and we kind of got in there and we're like, wow, this is amazing. We never had this before, and so it's kind of inspirational.
And I think that's what made that trip so unique and so wonderful. Was it was something that we just kind of spur of the moment.
Yeah, we would have never known to
it was
go there.
out of the way. It was just kind of hidden, and I think that's what
Yeah.
kind of made that whole experience so great.
Yeah. So I mean, and I think that's one of the things that you know, we take for granted here in the United States is we don't have those kinds of experiences here. I don't think, because those places
There's a
have
lot
been
of
around.
The depth is not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same, and so I think to me when I go to those places and I've already I was already a huge fan of Belgian beers, but now I'm even more a fan, and it makes me want to make my craft even better, you know, and so and I'm sure, you know, you and Will are like, hey, let's try to make this, and let's try to make.
Oh, he's already doing that. He's like, oh my God, we got Valdoo. We got to make a beer like Valdoo.
Yeah, so those are fun things, and we want to wrap this up and talk
So
about.
in upcoming episodes, we'll have a few guests to talk about and their special interests.
Ooh, man,
special
this is
Possibly including beer blending and infusions with the guys from Hop Fusion, which has been very successful for them. We talked about that a little bit when we were at their brewery and talking about it when this place was flooded and we did the remote there. So we'll talk about that a little bit
Hop
more.
Fusion. Oh, okay.
Hop Fusion, yeah.
I thought you said collective. My bad.
No. And then further coverage of the Grain Father that we've been promising, but with a representative of the company, which will be a big difference.
They've
And
got
of
the
course-
coolest little fermenters that go along with it. Oh my God, I want one.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about that more too.
Yeah. They're coming. They're coming.
All right.
I think I know a guy that can get you one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but they put their just a little side note, they put their glycol unit on the back burner.
That's right.
So
yeah.
it's gonna
You're
yeah,
kidding.
no.
Well,
It's
you
gonna
know
be
what?
a little
Get-
longer.
do-
The
do
one
it
that
right.
we saw. The one that we saw.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was so excited.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a big proponent because in my industry, I see people try to do things fast, and I see them try to do
Yeah.
it right, and I'd rather they did it right.
You know what? They've done a really good job. I think in that aspect. I'm not going to get too long winded, but they have pulled back on some of the stuff, and then they re-released it within a reasonable amount of time, and it didn't have problems. I'd rather them wait a little longer and
Yep.
release it when it's right.
It's so difficult to deal with when they put out something that is not a complete product.
subpar. You got a problem.
Subpar, right? Yeah. Which seems to be the standard in like the software world now. They put something out, and
Yeah.
you immediately have this huge patch that you got to. So you can't patch
continual.
something mechanical. So it's good to make sure they get it right before they put it out. Also, please make sure to check out our Patreon account at patreon.com. That's patreon.com/Come and Brew It Radio to help support the show. We have $2, $5, $10, and $20 options because every little bit counts. Plus, we want to reward you while you help keep the show going. So get involved and help improve it. Thanks again for listening to Come and Brew It Radio. Be sure to share with your friends on social media. Give us some ratings on iTunes and Stitcher. And send any ideas or comments to info@texasbrewinginc.com. You can always check in on the brew days of the guys at their brew-focused Facebook pages at Brew with Stubby, Brew with Brando, Brew with Mikey B, Brew with Pete, Brew with Chris, and Brew with Greg.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're making fun of me.
You said social media.
I did not. I did not.
I think you did say social
did.
media. Until next time,
It's your fault.
come and brew it.
Come and brew it.
Come and brew it. That particular word, I was like, oh, dude, I got